So, you've run into the age-old problem that plagues many a gamer. There's no more content, you say. Well, you ignorant idiot child, there's a simple solution for your blight. It's what I call
going fast.
A revolutionary new way to play your favorite games again. Wow! In fact, if you try this new method of
going fast,
you might find it makes a game brand new again. Now, the only potential problem with
going fast
is that it might catch on enough to the point that the elusive group of elder beings known only to the layman as game developers may try to make it mandatory.
Time trials. No one likes them, but they're pretty fun. They're rarely required for the 100% that many strive for to remember what it's like to feel accomplished, but there's a certain satisfaction that a perfect run of a level gives. Beating every challenge in the fastest possible way, stringing together the perfect sequence of controls. And it's nice when a game has a system that actively encourages you to do that and reward you with an ooh, shiny thing. Usually they're in a game as an aside, as a little extra thing for those who feel like it. The Crash Bandicoot games are an exception to this, but with an asterisk at the end of that, because not really. Like with most time trials in games, there are 3 ranks of Relic you can get for the time you finish any given level, and they go Bronze, Silver, and Gold, except of course they don't because that'd make too much sense. Instead it goes Sapphire, then Gold, then Platinum. The Sapphire Relics are really easy. They're so easy my dog can do it. In fact, she is doing it. Look at her go. Good girl. The Gold Relics are easy enough. They take some effort, but they let you slip up a few times. These are the ones that actually matter in these games. They tick up that completion percentage and they get you the achievement. The Platinum Relics are something else entirely, namely with their difficulty. The timers here are way more strict than anything else, meaning that on some levels if you mess up even once, you're done. However, they also don't do anything at all to that glorious percentage, so it means only the people who want to complete absolutely everything are even going to go for them. And I am one such person, because if I see a counter, I'm gonna count it.
Wait, does that even make sense?
So in this video, I'm detailing what it took to get all 27 Platinum Relics in the Crash Bandicoot remake for the Insane Trilogy. Hope you enjoy the video. So this level is just like it is in the main run of the game, a tutorial. And I'd say with this, it teaches you 3 things on your way to get the best time possible. 1, getting 3 Aku Aku masks will make you not only invincible, but faster, which is vital. 2, it's better to take a moment to hit the time crates even if they're a bit out of the way, because they freeze the clock and ultimately get you a better time. And 3, this is gonna be hard. Even a great run can be off by just milliseconds, especially in the shorter stages, everything needs to be done perfectly. A bit of a nicer level compared to the first one. As long as you do your platforming right and get the invincibility halfway through the level, which not only protects you from the rolling rocks but lets you go through them, you'll be fine. Another straightforward level, but now starting to get more challenging. This level teaches you something important about the Aku Aku masks. When not used for the speed of invincibility, they can be used to tank through obstacles that are normally on timers, mainly these spikes at the end. If you can't get 3, burn through the ones you do find when you hit a roadblock. This one is pretty straightforward as well, in the sense that the path is straight, and you go forward. Just make sure you hit all the time crates in these hallways without stopping. Wow, I got lucky with this one. This level introduces my strategy for minimizing headache in these runs. Whenever you load in, start running as soon as you can, except for one very specific example that I'll get into later. This means that any moving enemies or objects will be on a consistent timer and you can practice with it. This level being a prime example because if you start moving immediately, you can hit this insane jump, not only getting you style points, but also a Platinum Relic. Really similar to Jungle Rollers, even if the name is 10 times more literal. Abuse your invincibility like before. This level's by far the easiest for one reason. It's an auto-scroller. Just break all the boxes like for the gem and don't die. Timing these 2 guys is probably the hardest thing about it, but once you get it down, it's a piece of cake. A longer level, but luckily it's easy in comparison to later ones. Just tough it out and you can get the relic. My best suggestion for a better time is to look at the shadows on the wall when going up on the bouncy metal boxes for an idea of where you need to go. But even if you miss once or twice, you should make it just fine. Like Upstream. Luckily, the time save jump is much easier than before, and while that means you don't get style points, you do get this measly Platinum Relic as a consolation prize. Originally a color gem level that tasked you with beating it one go already, so all in all there's nothing too crazy difficult here. The only part that you might have trouble with is these guys since they can turn you around, but you can spin the red ones in the middle of their jump and jump on the green ones. And this time is pretty generous, so don't panic near the end. An underground dungeon type stage. There are fires that you can jump towards before they completely go out, because at that point they stop hurting you. But be extremely careful at these crushing walls, even if you have an Aku Aku mask. Despite the fact that you won't die, the death animation takes forever, which isn't ideal when you don't have the time to be 2D. the first of the 2 bridge levels. Luckily, this one isn't too difficult, and as long as you don't stop for more than a moment, you should be fine making it to the end in time. Basically boulders, but harder. Basically Hog Wild, but harder. One of the longest levels in the game, this relic is extremely hard to get. Not because of the time limit or anything, you can easily beat it by about half a minute. The sheer length of this level means that there are plenty of places to die, and there are plenty of places you will die, and the further along you get just means the more it'll sting when you fuck. Eventually, after about your 50th 4-minute attempt, you'll finally grab the relic. Now we're in the 3rd island. The levels will be harder and the time limit will be tighter. Heavy machinery starts out a bit nicer, giving you plenty of shortcuts with these moving platforms. Crash's legs must be made of heavy machinery themselves. The thing that'll really kill your run if you don't know the pattern is these trampolines at the end. Just remember right, middle, right, hit the crate, left, right, and get it. Even if you mess up, you should be good though. When you start this level, there's one thing I immediately suggest. Die. Seriously, this intro here makes the timing of these pylons all weird and dying resets it. After that, just go right and then left at the branching pathways for the best route. This one is pretty dang tough, with shortcuts to rival those of the Style Point super flippy jump from upstream. I'd highly recommend looking up a guide for this one. Oh wait, right, I guess this is a sort of guide. If you can get to this cycle on these moving platforms, then this shortcut will be perfectly set up, and from there you can go to this shortcut. Doing that should get you the platinum. I actually got really lucky in my run getting this cycle, which let me miss these 2 time crates and still beat the time by a second. Anyway, good luck. With some practice, you can definitely get it down. A literal straight line. Not much advice to give besides the fact that if you don't stop from the moment you're able to run, then the timing of these barrels should line up. The high road has been said to be extremely difficult, and I disagreed with that, seeing as the only thing you had to do to get past most obstacles was be patient. But now we're in speed mode and patience isn't an option. That means you can't stop to plan out your path or wait for the tortoise here to be in a better position. It seems nearly impossible. But you can get the perfect route if instead of bouncing on these 3 of the first 4 turtles, you hit them and jump the gap. It looks far, but you can make it. Knowing this, the rest of the level lines up perfectly. A hard level that's long and has a tough time limit. Fun. From what I've seen, there's no need to rush too much. As long as you don't miss the cycle, you should have enough time to make it to the end, but that's the hard part in the first place, so yay. Just like the name implies, you can't see much here. The entire level is dark until you pick up a mask to light the way, and that means exactly what you might think it'd mean. You lose the mask, lose the light, and shortly after you lose your footing and plummet to your death. But let's try to avoid that, yeah? Also, don't head for the exit. It takes long enough that you won't get the relic no matter what flippy tricks you do to get there. Instead, take the colored gem route. The elevator ride takes a while, but it's much shorter than the main path. Just like the name implies, again. This level is way harder than Lights Out, and there are plenty more obstacles just waiting to turn off your night vision. However, you can be patient while you wait for these axes to pass by. The timer really isn't that strict. No, the main problem I found is when the light from Aku Aku wears out on its own without you even getting hit. This is basically a death sentence, but if you hit one of these rats, you should hit the box in the distance that'll give you another one, thankfully letting you instead fumble in the light for just a bit longer. Alright, remember how in Temple Ruins I said to be careful with the crushing walls? Ignore that. Mash crashes Bandicoot salute against them until they eventually feel bad and let you through. It's fine, he can handle it. If you're going fast, then the walls will always have a cycle that lets you through without getting hurt, which you need to do because if you wait for the walls to close first, then you'll waste too much time and won't get the platinum, which if you're watching the video this far is probably what you're going for. Now here's something I found interesting. When playing this game, did you ever feel like the movement you did in your analog stick didn't work? Well, I've got an explanation for why that happens. The original PlayStation controller sucks. What do you mean you don't get it? Crash 1 was made in 1996 with only a D-pad in mind, and the PlayStation controller with analog sticks, the DualShock, didn't release until 1997. But Vicarious Visions decided not to fix this in the remake, meaning in Crash 1 you only have 8-way directional movement. Why did they do this? I don't know, how would I don't work there. Anyway, with this piece of retro game trivia to disappoint your family with at the dinner table, I suggest using a D-pad for the first section of this level. Both because grabbing the time clock is a bit difficult without it, and you're gonna have to go the max speed you can to get this cycle, which sets you up perfectly for the rest of the level. Not much to mention about the rest of it, it's basically heavy machinery. But harder. This level is by far the most precise platinum run, and is also the exception to my start moving as soon as possible rule. Wait just a bit, and then go, because then... And now we've got a run. With this, everything should line up for you. Just remember that this box is TNT, spin this guy from the front so he hits the switch, jump from this grate before it opens, and jump over the electricity at the end with this box. With all this done perfectly, you should just barely be able to get what is, in my opinion, the most satisfying relic of them all. Stormy Ascent. Dear God, Stormy Ascent. What do you get when you take the length of Sunset Vista and the difficulty of the lab? This monstrosity of a time trial. You'll have to work at your maximum for an ungodly long time, and messing up at the second horizontal section is especially painful. Thank God the time constraint isn't too tight, but even then, that's not much consolation. Here's my advice. At the beginning, run like hell, and make sure you grab this mask for later, because you're going to need it. The first vertical section is easy enough, but make sure you don't take a hit. You need that Aku Aku mask for this part of the first horizontal section. Missing this jump is extremely easy, and the timing of the platforms means you'll be waiting for a long time for a cycle that works. But you can use the invincibility frames of taking a hit on these spikes in order to make the jump easier. The second mask can be used here to skip this section, but if you want some safety and style points, you can make the skip without hitting the spikes. From here, just make sure you get the timing of the stairs and the platforms right. The last horizontal section isn't hard, but at this point your heart rate will probably be faster than Through the Fire and the Flames BPM. Just remember to do this at these platforms and jump on the moving birds when they're far away from you, and if you manage to do all that, the last and hardest platinum relic of Crash Bandicoot will be yours. Enjoy the bragging rights. So, that's all the time trials. That's what I did to get all of them. And here's my proof for that one guy who thinks I faked it. And I actually really enjoyed it. Well, not Stormy Ascent, but at that point I had to get it. I had to have all the shiny things, okay? I hope you all enjoyed the video. It was a bit different, but I think it's better off for it, you know? And hey, if you think I should do a similar type of video for another game with time trials like the other Crash games or the newer Donkey Kong Country ones, then I'm all for it. Thanks for watching. And if this video happens to get more out there than my other ones, consider subscribing. I'm a small YouTube channel and could use the traction to get off the ground. And if you're more likely one of my friends, then thank you. I'm always grateful for your support. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.